Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Stormworks. We are back working on our frigate. Once again, we got a really fun episode for you today, actually. And it's kind of weird because we're going to be working in this hallway. But this hallway is actually one of my favorite parts of the ship, as silly as that is to say. It just ends up looking really, really good. We cram a lot of details in there, and I'm kind of excited for you guys to see what we get down there. But essentially, that is all we are going to be working on in today's episode. So if you guys do like this series, I'm just plug it real quick. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you haven't already, check out the link down below to our Discord. We have a build challenge going on right now. The due date is coming up. If you guys haven't seen anything about that, the due date is on the 20th. That is for our flying carrier project. That's another build we got going on right now. And I also encourage you to kind of go check that out if you haven't. But anyways, enough of that. I am yapping. What we're going to be doing here today is we're going to be cleaning up this hallway, like I said, but this hallway is going to serve a greater purpose that we will get into a little bit further down the road with the build, but we're going to do a lot of the building to it today. So down in the hallway, there is a space below each kind of walkway, and on the right side, we're going to put a wet sub. So over here, there's going to be a wet sub, and then on the other side, we are going to have a guidable torpedo. It's kind of weird. It's not quite a torpedo. It's a little different kind of fun creation I made. Essentially, it's a torpedo with a camera that you can steer. There's two maggalls on it, so you can magnet the torpedo to the bottom of a ship, and then it can send the GPS data back to the frigate, and you will be able to either chase that waypoint from the GPS or aim the guns at it, which is super cool and fun. So that is going to be the goal for us today. Really is we're going to figure out how to do this. Now these rooms are not going to be symmetrical, so it is going to be a little bit back and forth, but I did think that this was a really fun part of the build, so I kind of wanted to slow it down. This video is going to be a little bit slower from the building aspect of it, but I hope you guys like it. Now, unfortunately, I do not have any recordings of me actually working on that sub, so it will just kind of get copy and pasted. And I don't even know if we're going to get to that in this episode. We got a lot to do in this episode, but really, I just built it off camera. So if it is something that you guys would be interested in, let me know. I'm so bad at posting things on the workshop. I know, I'm sorry. But if you are interested in it, maybe I can just post like the XML file in my Discord or something like that. I don't know. It's not really that complicated of a build. I just XML'd some of the fins. It's got a battery and a prop, and that's about it. So just chase things, and it's got a mag all with a camera. As soon as you see the boat, you can magnet to the bottom of it, or there's a remote detonation, so you can just blow it up whenever you want. And that's also a fun little feature. So, but the first thing that I want to do here is I want to figure out these levels, because we had like 4 or 5 levels in between that main floor and then back here to getting into the engine room. So I want to clean that up a little. We're going to bring this floor straight back, and there won't be as much headroom, but that's okay. It's a warship. I don't mind if it's a little cramped. So I know we are kind of building slow right now, but we are going to get right into the time lapse, guys. I do want to get some of this done so we can talk a little bit more about how it's going to look and how it's going to function, really. So I'm going to let the time lapse roll. We will be back in just a minute. All right, so we're just doing a little bit of paint block work there. That is a place where you're going to bonk your head. So I want to make sure that people don't do that. Anyways, we are just trying to kind of pretty these up. I'm going to more or less copy and paste a lot of this over. Like I said, the rooms aren't quite symmetrical just because of they kind of look symmetrical, but they're not. The door frames are different distances from the wall. And then the ammos, the belts, I guess, are also a little bit different. So I'm just copying this over. Now, I have this weird little like door frame thing that's kind of leaving gaps in the wall, and that's really, I wanted this to kind of feel like a catwalk. It's going to sound really, really silly, but the inspiration here was like those old World War II bombers where you have to walk across the bomb bay to get to the back of the plane, across kind of like a catwalk. So that's kind of why what we're going for here. That's kind of the vibe and the feel that I want in this room. And it's also mostly just a utility room. It's a really, really weird space, so I want you to almost be overwhelmed with the amount of junk in it, just because I want it to feel like it has a purpose and it's not just wasted hallway. Which, I mean, in a sense, it's not really a wasted space anyways. We have our ballast tanks over here. You know, you do need to get to the engine room. This is technically this space in between the hull and the ammo room is really a protective thing also. So that's kind of a nice thing about this room is we don't really need to, there's no core function we need to cram in here. It's just a lot of like random little like pipe work, duct work, that kind of stuff, and it'll end up looking really nice. Now there is a really fun feature that I'll get into this side of the hallway, and that will be manual pumps for the bilge. And so say you lose power, electrical power, and the bilge won't, or not the bilge, sorry, the ballast, and the ballast won't work anymore. Now you can close the relief valves, which I could explain why there's relief valves. I'm not going to, that's a whole other thing right now, but basically you can close them, you can close the pump valves, and all of the valves are open or manual, so you can open and close them as you need, and that way you can level the ship out if you were to lose all electrical power, and you could just do that just with pumping ballast water from one tank to the other manually. And it's little stuff like that I get really excited about, especially in these warships. It's just stupid little features like that really make the difference. Now, will anybody ever use that? Probably not. No, absolutely not. But I think it is a nice little feature, and it makes the hallway feel a lot more useful, lived in, kind of, you know, as a core function of the ship, and not just like this blank space that you got to run through to get to the engine room. You know, I wanted it to feel like there was stuff going on in here. So I think we accomplished that quite well in the end. I'm just trying to kind of tidy this up over here towards the ground. Now, the stairwell is really, really weird. You'll also see we have a tiny little tunnel that goes to the other side of the ship, and I wanted that also just because, say there was an engine fire or something like that, and you needed to, say one of the engines had a fire, you would want to keep that door closed so the fire wouldn't spread, but you would need to get to the other side of the room so you could fight the fire. That's why that is there, really. So it's more of a fire safety thing than anything, which is kind of ironic because it's a tunnel that goes through the diesel tank. But yeah, it's more of a, you know, need to get to the other side because you're blocked off by fire or water or something like that, so that's not really a primary part of this room, and I don't really expect people to use that to traverse the ship too much, but I did want to have that little walkway. It does make, again, it's just one of those silly little features that makes the this kind of area of the ship seem more of a usable area rather than kind of a transient area that you just kind of flow through to get to another room. And if you guys really think about it, there is honestly quite a bit going on in this room, or these hallways. There's, our ballast tanks. We also have all these ammo belts. Now, there's ammo belts for a lot of different guns, and there's a lot of different piping also, because the ballast is routed straight over top of the ammo storage room. It's not, or the line to kind of split the difference. That's where the pipe is routed. So it goes up and over. We're not going around. I wanted to have a pretty short run of pipes for that, just because, well, it's a ballast, and the longer the pipes are, the slower it's going to be, which not necessarily, but for our purposes of talking, we'll go with that. But right now I am just trying to make this look a little bit nicer, and I'm thinking about maybe putting some floor grading here. This is 2 blocks wide, so I don't think you can fall through that, but I don't know. The game is weird, and I know that people do fit in a 2 wide block with 3, as long as it's a 2x3 hole, they fit. So you probably can fall through that. Obviously, you would have to, walk into it. I think there's enough junk on the ceiling that you would have to intentionally walk into it. But I also probably should flip that sign around. It's backwards, but we'll hopefully get that done. And the only other thing that I'm doing here is I'm just adding these steps. I want to add these because, well, if you've been following this series, this little bump in the ground here, or in the floor, that cannot go anywhere. That is, the ship is double hulled, basically, and I'll just explain this for the people that are new. The ship is double hulled, and essentially there is a relief valve that goes from the left side of the hull to the right side of the hull, and that way, if you are flooding on one side, the ship will flood, but it will flood while keeping itself upright. That's the idea. So I did test this a little bit. It didn't really slow us down from flooding, but it did keep us balanced, and as long as your engines are running and you're balanced, you can get away with a lot. So I do think that it's a nice little feature. It also just makes everything inside the ship harder to destroy, which overall makes the ship itself more durable. So it is a fun little feature that I added. I've never really done that with a ship before. I'm not really too sure if it was worth my time or not yet, but we'll see. It is fun. I won't lie about that. But yeah, so we've got these little stairwells down here. They've got to go over that bump. That bump is just a relief valve for our double hull. And the reason those stairs are there is because, well, that red floor right there is going to turn into a door, and the door is where we're gonna deploy the submarine and or the torpedo, obviously. So that's kind of really the vibe for down here. There's not really too much is going to change. We're just going to put some sliding doors or some sliding rails and a couple control blocks like these throttles. I think these throttles would be fine. We don't need to go crazy. These look good enough. So I do need to figure out a way to pressurize this space when the door opens. And that's just so we don't have water coming into the ship. But we'll spawn it in real quick. We'll look around. I'm sure there's some stuff I missed real quick, so I'm sure we'll have to go back into the workbench. But you guys can see it is very cramped in here. You got to duck all over the place, but I'm fine with that. I like it, and I hope you guys don't mind either. But you can see all that, all those bubbles. Water is definitely coming in right now, and we need that to not happen. So I'll probably have to add some sort of way to keep the cabin pressurized when those are open, but we'll figure that out. I'm not too worried about it. I played the game long enough where I think most things are kind of solvable at this point. So I'm thinking as long as we pump air into that space, the door frames, I might have to make the door frames upstairs a full frame, but that would seal this space off technically from the rest of the hull. So we wouldn't really need to worry about any of the fresh air vents anywhere else. And obviously the air does mix a little bit, but the game is very weird. And if you really know what you're looking for, you can see me abusing the hell out of the door frames on the micro carrier. And that's just because the door frames can create their own sealed spaces. So essentially what I'm talking about here is the door upstairs that starts at the entrance of the hallway. If I make that a full door frame instead of just kind of like a U, that will seal the space off if both sides are full door frames. And since we have a little tunnel in between, we need to do it from side to side also. They'll be the same space, but that's fine. I really don't want the air to be mixing through the door from a physics standpoint. That's why I'm going to probably use the door frames. But if I do that and then pump air in, I bet you that would fix the problem. So we'll see. We'll come back to this, obviously, but that's probably where I'm going to start. So for now, I'm not doing anything too complex. I'm just making these little gantries. Well, not really gantries. They're just kind of, I don't really even know what you want to call that, but little arms to mount the torpedo and the submarine on. But I think that's pretty much all the building we're going to get into today, guys. Here's that fun little submarine or torpedo I was talking about. It's called the Remora. Thank you. I think it was Aaron in Discord. I could be wrong. That was so long ago. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but someone in Discord named that, so thank you. And that is just about it. So if you guys made it to the end, thank you so much as always. I really, really appreciate it. We're going to get this spawned in just so you guys can see it in real time before we end the episode. But yeah, I think this was a good one. We got a lot done. I know it's kind of weird. We just worked around a hallway, but you know, that's the Whack Al channel. So thank you for hanging out with me in my slow builds, and you know, we'll get it done eventually. But that's all I got for you guys today. So once again, if you made it to the end, thank you so much. If you haven't yet, check out my Discord. I will catch you all in the next one. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.